The Kythera had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia, their crimson ships cutting through space like drops of blood across black silk. They were born for war, engineered by evolution itself to be the perfect predators. 7 feet tall, with razor-sharp claws that could slice through steel and minds that calculated death with mathematical precision, they had never encountered a species that could match their savagery. Until they found Earth. Commander Vex Thule stood on the bridge of the dreadnought, Bloodrender, watching the blue-green planet rotate slowly beneath them. Intelligence reports had been disappointing. The humans appeared soft, weak creatures who spent more time creating art and music than perfecting weapons. They had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, and their military technology seemed primitive compared to Kythera standards. A training exercise, Vex Thule had told his pack leaders. We'll crush their resistance in solar cycles, harvest their resources, and add another dead world to our empire. The first wave of Kythera shock troops descended upon the human colonies, like a plague of metal and fury. They expected screams, surrenders, the usual terror that preceded swift victory. Instead, they found something that chilled their predatory hearts. The humans fought back, not with the desperate flailing of prey animals, but with a cold, calculated brutality that matched and often exceeded their own. When Kythera forces landed on the agricultural world of New Montana, expecting to slaughter farmers and miners, they instead walked into carefully prepared killing fields. Human defenders had turned their own farming equipment into weapons of war, improvising explosives from fertilizer and fuel, creating sniper nests in grain silos that could pick off Kythera warriors from impossible distances. But it wasn't just their tactical adaptability that unnerved the Kythera, it was their endurance. Kythera warriors were bred for quick, decisive strikes. They excelled at overwhelming force and intimidation. But humans just kept fighting. Even when wounded, even when outnumbered, even when their positions were hopeless. They fought with broken weapons, with their bare hands, with a desperate fury that spoke of something deeper than mere survival instinct. On the mining world of Titan's Rest, Kythera forces cornered a group of human civilians in an underground complex. Standard protocol was simple: eliminate resistance, secure resources, move on. But the humans had other plans. For 17 days, they held the tunnels with jury-rigged weapons and homemade explosives. When the Kythera finally broke through, they found that the humans had collapsed half the mine rather than let it fall into enemy hands. The survivor, a human female with burns covering 60% of her body, looked up at Vex Thule with eyes that held no fear, only defiance. "You want this rock?" she whispered through cracked lips. "Come and take it." She died clutching a detonator that brought down the remaining tunnels. As reports flooded in from across human space, a disturbing pattern emerged. The humans weren't just fighting, they were learning. Every Kythera tactic, every weapon, every strategy was being studied, adapted, and countered with frightening speed. Human engineers were reverse engineering Kythera technology almost as fast as they could capture it. But worse than their adaptability was their apparent inability to surrender. The Kythera had built their empire on fear. Other species, when faced with overwhelming force, would submit. It was logical, practical, rational. The humans seemed incapable of such logic. They fought losing battles with the same intensity as winning ones. They rescued their wounded under fire, carried their dead from battlefields, and spoke of abstractions like honor and duty, as if these concepts were worth dying for. On the fortress world of New Berlin, human defenders held out for 8 months against a siege that should have broken them in 8 days. They ate leather, drank recycled water, and continued fighting even as their ammunition ran low. When Kythera forces finally breached the walls, they found the last human soldiers still at their posts, skeletal from starvation, but still firing, antique projectile weapons with hands that shook from weakness but never missed their targets. The final human commander, General Sarah Chen, was found in the command center with a dozen Kythera corpses around her position. She was dying from blood loss, but her eyes remained clear and sharp. "Why?" Vex Thule demanded, his translator struggling with the emotional undertones. Why do you not yield? Your position is hopeless. Your people are dying. Chen smiled, and there was something in that expression that made the battle-hardened Kythera commander step backward. Because, she whispered, you made the mistake of thinking that surviving was more important to us than how we choose to die. The war stretched into its third year. The Kythera, for the first time in their history, found themselves requesting reinforcements. Their economy, built on quick conquests and rapid resource extraction, began to strain under the prolonged conflict. Worse, their warriors, bred for dominance and victory, began to experience something their species had no word for: doubt. It was on the anniversary of the invasion that the unthinkable happened. A Kythera battle group, having fought humans for 2 solid years, did something that would have been considered impossible just cycles before. They retreated. Not a tactical withdrawal or strategic repositioning, they fled. An entire Kythera assault fleet, faced with a human defense force 1/10 their size, turned and ran rather than face another Pyrrhic victory that would cost them everything they had left. When word reached the Kythera High Command, emergency sessions were called. For the first time in their recorded history, the galaxy's apex predators found themselves asking a question that had never occurred to them before. What if some prey was too dangerous to hunt? The official statement from the Kythera Empire came 6 months later, transmitted across all frequencies in every known galactic language. The message was brief, unprecedented, and would echo through history. The Kythera Empire formally requests a cessation of hostilities with the human species. We seek immediate diplomatic negotiations for the establishment of permanent peace treaties. It was the first time in 3,000 years that the Kythera had ever asked for mercy, and humanity, bloodied but unbroken, considered their response.